Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and another card making video. In today's video, I am using the Trinity Stamps Mini Slimline Envelope die set to create this card. So let's take a look at the die set. There are two large pieces in this die set that you use to create an envelope. So you're going to die cut the largest one time, and then this piece you're going to die cut twice to create the side flaps of this envelope. For adhesive, I like to use some double stick tape and put it right along the edges of the side flaps where there is a tab. And also, I like it to stick really well, so I will be using some liquid adhesive as well to stick these down. I'm folding on all the score lines. Now, when you're using an envelope, think about when putting an envelope in and out, the seams of the envelope are going to have a little bit more pressure on them. So that's why I like to use the liquid adhesive to really ensure a good hold. But also it gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case I don't get it stuck on right the first time. I have a second I can move it around before really pressing it down. So I'm just lining up these side flaps between the scored lines at the top and the bottom and putting the edge of the envelope to the edge of the flap, and then you can fold it together like that. That's how I'm going to do it. Or if you're making an envelope, you want to put those side flaps in first and glue the bottom up to those flaps. All right, so here I've die cut that scalloped panel from some light blue cardstock that's going to go on the inside of my card, and I want it to hold a gift card. So I just figured out where I wanted the gift card, and then I'm taking this die right here and die cutting it from that panel, and it creates notches that hold the gift card, and it holds it really snug, which I'm very happy about. Now I'm bringing in the Mouse House stamp and die set to create the cute parts of my card today. This set is so darling with that stump for a house and the cute little mice, and of course I love mushrooms and it has those. So I'm going to color these up with Copic markers. I happen to already have a bunch already stamped. I did a whole stamp set of the month series and I used this, but it was actually the Bunny Burrow stamp set, that's what it's called, that I used. And this set also goes with the Bunny Burrow set. So I've used it a lot and I love it. So I'm going to color my mice with some neutral gray markers, N0 and N2. And I just went over those 2 times to really get the shadow that I wanted. I'm using some R20 to give the mice some rosy cheeks, and then I'll bring in R17 for the lightest color on my mushrooms, and then I thought I was only going to use 2 different colors for my mushrooms, so I brought in my R27 and I just wasn't getting the dark shadow that I wanted. So I'm actually going to bring in a 3rd color and add that in, and that is R59, and that's going to really help these mushrooms pop with that dark shadow on the left hand side. And then I can blend that out with my mid-tone R27 and then again with my R17, and I still have a really bright highlight on the right hand side. For all the greenery, I am starting with G28 and coloring those in. I love this green. I think this is like my current favorite green color. I don't know, it's just dark but not too dark. Love it. Then my darkest color is G29. I'm just adding a little touch of shadow because most of the greenery I'm coloring today is very teeny tiny, so I don't need to do a ton of blending with that. I've colored my door pink. I love that. And then for the trunk itself, I'm using E23 as my lightest color, and then for my shadows I'm going to bring in E15, and this is kind of has a orangish undertone, like a really golden color, and I thought it was really nice with that green. So there I am adding in shadows, and I'm just going to go back and forth between the 2 colors until I get the blend that I want. And I'm trying to flick out the line that's already there once I get to the end of it, just flicking it out a little bit and adding just some textural interest with the flicks, and then I can blend that out with my E23, and like I said, you just got to go back and forth between the 2 colors till you get the blend and the look that you want. For my mushroom, I'm using E53 for the underparts of the mushroom, and then I thought I would leave the bottom part of the stems white, but I outlined it a little bit with my E53, and I really liked that look. You'll see me do that right here, but then I figured I needed to blend it out just a tiny bit, so at the very end I'll bring in my E00 to do that right here. Here are all the markers I used to color out today's images. Aren't they cute? And you know what makes them even cuter? And I don't know why this is, but when you die cut them, they just look that much cuter. So I'll pull out the die set and cut out all the images. There is a die for every image, but no dies for the sentiments in this set, but there are ones you can easily cut with a banner die. So there they are. Now I wanted to show you the grass in this only cuts the top, so you could die cut it in a scene and pop it out, but I wanted to snip it out, so I did that. I have the Winter Hues paper pack, and I pulled out this pattern with the light blue polka dots to match my cardstock, and I'm going to cut that into some 1-inch strips. Now I was going to use these die cut words with some light blue cardstock, but it just didn't pop, so I wanted to mix it up and use that dark green cardstock that I used for my envelope, and then put the words on top of my patterned paper. So I glued the pattern paper down to those flaps, and I'm going to trim off the excess and then adhere down those die cut words. I absolutely love that this die set has die cut sentiments in it. That is so fabulous. I really feel like this die set is a really good value for all the dies that you get with it. It's fabulous. All right, so it says, "For you with love." Now I have some lightweight chipboard here. I wanted to pop up this scalloped panel, but I did not want to use foam squares. I felt like that would give it too much height. I just needed a tiny bit of lift. So I'm putting this scraps of chipboard that was like with some packaging, and I pulled it out of my recycle bin and thought this is perfect. So I'm going to glue that down now, and you can see I avoided the area where the gift card's going to go so I could still get in and under those flaps. Now I'm going to glue my mouse house right next to the gift card, but it needed to be popped up so it was a little higher than the gift card because it will overlap it a tiny bit. So I thought a piece of cardstock would do, but it wasn't thick enough for the gift card, so I used another piece of that chipboard, and then it was perfect. I did need to trim a little bit of the mouse house off there on the left side so this flap would fold in easier. So I went ahead and did that. And this is how that's how you fold up an envelope, but I'm going to fold it the other way so the large flaps go in last. Now I have the rest of my stamped and die cut images that I'm going to use to decorate up this card, putting some on all 3 of the flaps. And I will even have some left over that I can use on the outside, but I'm just going to glue everything down. Again, I don't want to have too much dimension on this card where it's going to be folded up. I need it to be a little bit more flat than normal. So there we go. Now I wanted to add to my sentiment that says "for you." I'm going to use my graham cracker alphabet, you can see there on the left, and die cut the word mom. I wanted the pink to match the pink I already used, so I just colored a scrap of white cardstock with my same R20 Copic marker, and then use that to die cut out the letters. And that is a perfect match, and that makes me so happy. So there I'm gluing those into place. You can see that these letters are small, which I love for card making. I can spell out custom sentiments and they're not too big. It's perfect and super cute. So now I'm going to bring in my white Jelly Roll pen because I love a white highlight, and I'm going to add white highlights to all of my stamped images. I usually put my highlights over on the right hand side, but I also like to add like a little dot next to their black eyes, on their nose, a little freckle or 2 on their cheeks. So I just have fun with the white gel pen. It's probably my favorite part of coloring. Plus, it's good for covering up any areas where you went out of the lines when you were coloring. I have a 1-inch by 9-inch strip of that same pattern paper that I'm going to use to create a belly band to keep this envelope card closed. So I'm going to fold that around my closed envelope, but not too tight because you need to be able to move it on and off of the card. So once I have that folded how I like it, I can glue the 2 ends together, making sure they're nice and lined up. And now I can slide that belly band on and off my card. I'm going to use the rest of this homemade pink paper and die cut the sentiment banner from that envelope die set. It has a nice stitched border all the way around. It's about 3 inches long, and I'm going to stamp Happy Mother's Day right in the center of that with some Forest Glades ink from Altenew. I have a dark green piece of cardstock that I die cut with the etched circle dies, and then I'll put that right in the center of my belly band. I added a second plain banner to the back of this one to make it a little bit more sturdy because the ends will hang off of this circle and it's something that's going to be moved on and off of my envelope. So I wanted it to be a little bit more sturdy. Now I have a mouse I can add to the top of that, and he's doing a little handstand. It's so cute. And then I have this mushroom I can add to the bottom, and it just gives you a little hint of what's inside the card, right? So when I pull this belly band on and off, it's kind of starting to reveal the white core of this paper. And so I'm going to show you a fix I have for that. I decided to go ahead and go with the white core look and took my very fine grit sanding block and sand the edges of this to reveal the white core of the paper. So it looked like it had always been there and it was done on purpose. Sometimes you just got to go with the flow with these things, right? So that finishes up today's card for Trinity Stamps, and I hope you've enjoyed it and maybe got a new idea with this fun envelope die. You can do this with any envelope die. Trinity also has a standard slimline envelope die set, which also has a ton of other dies in it. So there's such a great value for the money. I'll link both of them for you below so you can check that out. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I have new videos all the time and I love sharing my creations with you. Also, I would love to hear from you. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of today's card and I'll chat with you there. Happy stamping. Bye.